Okay, so again, welcome to today's webinar. Really excited about the content that you all are about to see. And my name is Sarah Tomchuk. I'm a K-12 marketing manager focused on creating digital content for K-12 institutions. I will be your host today for the Blackboard Innovative Teaching Series. And thank you to Ben from the Client Success team for joining me today. He may be asking you for your contact info, your name, and the district that you're with. So if you could just make sure that you provide him with any of your info, that would be great. We are always open to new ideas and topics for this series. So please let me know if you're interested in presenting in the future. Just send me an email or you can tweet at me. And I also have Katie Gallagher's information at the end of the presentation, and she would love to have the topics as well. So thank you all so much. Yes, thanks so much, Ben. Throughout the presentation, if you do have any questions or comments, feel free to type those in the chat, and Ben will be tracking those and providing those to our presenters at the end. As many of you know, each of these webinars in the series have been recorded. You can join the K-12 Blackboard Professional Learning community today and stay on top of upcoming sessions, recordings, and available materials. And you can see the link there. And you can join, actually I'll put the link in the chat for you so that you can easily access it. And you will receive this recording and the presentation slides a few days after the webinar. And you'll receive those via email. So just stay tuned for that webinar and for the full presentation here that you're going to see momentarily. And this is the second to last session in our fall series. I guess it's now technically winter. I'm based in Illinois and we have lots of snow on the ground here, so pretty exciting. But stay on board with us. Monday, December 12th, we will have a session on Go Open with Blackboard Open Content, and I think I saw that Bradley's on the call today with us, and he'll be presenting with us next week. So super excited for your presentation as well, Bradley. So thanks for joining us today. Without further ado, I'd love to announce our speakers today. First and foremost, we have Kelly Hart. Kelly teaches 7th grade English language arts at South Middle School in Lawrence, Kansas. She began using a blended model in her classroom in 2012 at the urging of her principal. Blending has impacted every aspect of Kelly's teaching in a positive manner by maximizing her time meeting the individual needs of students while boosting students' engagement in their learning. She was recognized as the Lawrence Public Schools Secondary Teacher of the Year in 2014. Congratulations on that, Kelly. Kelly loves being able to successfully reach each child in the classroom with instruction tailored to their needs. And then Carrie, I was informed, is actually sick today, so she won't be able to join us, but we do have Diana Bailey on the line. And Diana was raised in Lawrence, Kansas. Diana Bailey has taught elementary students for 12 years. 3 years ago, she implemented the blended learning model in order to personalize learning for every student in her classroom. Diana has been recognized with multiple awards, including the Unusually Excellent Educator Award, the Lawrence School District Teacher of the Year for 2014, and runner-up for the Best of Lawrence 2014. Her continued desire to personalize learning for her students drives her passion to incorporate innovative technologies into her planning, instructing, and assessing. Both of these ladies are just phenomenal teachers, and I'm so excited for the content that they're going to be sharing with you today. So without further ado, Kelly and Diana, I'm going to hand the reins off to you, and you should have access to go through the slides.
Thank you, Sarah. Can you guys all hear us?
You're very
okay?
welcome.
Okay.
Yes, loud and clear.
All right, great. We're just like in the little learning cafe area of our district building, so there might be some background chatter. We can't promise total silence, but we'll speak up. The first tool that I'm going to share with you guys today is one that hopefully you're familiar with if you've been using Blackboard products, and it is their adaptive release feature. It is I think, one of the most powerful things that Blackboard has to offer, because it lets you control what your students are seeing and when they see it, so that you can put the content in front of them only when they're ready for it, not too soon or not when it's too late. So on this slide here, I've highlighted membership and Grade Center item, which are two of the ways that you can choose to release your content to your students. Membership is just what it sounds like. You put in a list of kids there, and then they'll see that particular item. One of the ways that I like to use the membership feature is to push out additional resources or modified assignments to my SPED students or my ESL students or my gifted students. It cuts down on confusion then, because kids don't see 3 different versions of the same assignment, for example. They just see the one that's tailored for them. Another way that you can use adaptive release is through the Grade Center. If kids have completed a quiz or an assignment through the Blackboard Grade Center, then you can just say, okay, well, they need to have 1 attempt of this assignment before they can move on. And you can also set it so that it'll only trigger the item to show up if they've scored a certain score. So, for example, I use pre-tests all the time in Blackboard through the assessment feature, and I'll set an adaptive release function so that the kids will have to have scored, say, like a 75% or above on an assignment before opening up the rest of the unit to them. If they score below a 75, then they'll get a review folder with some additional information, things for them to practice, and usually a little one-on-one conference with me will be part of that so that I can check in with them. This makes it really easy for me to personalize and make sure kids are getting what they're ready for when they're ready for it. Not visible on the screen is the review adaptive release, which you can turn on. It just puts a little button at the bottom of an item that says mark as reviewed. And then the students have to click on that in order to move on. I like to do this sometimes to just make sure they're paying attention to the directions, because I'll say you have to click the mark as reviewed button to be able to move on. And 3 kids will come up and say, "What? I don't see it. What do I do next?" And I go, "Did you read the directions?" And they'll be like, "Yes." And I'll be able to say, "No, you didn't." So that's just a nice little check to make sure that they're actually reading the directions that are in Blackboard. Another way that I've used adaptive release is when I put my kids in groups. I don't know if you guys are familiar with creating groups within Blackboard, but you can do that. And then you can assign each of your groups different assignments or different content just based on the group that they're in. So that's really handy as well. It kind of keeps from clogging up their view of Blackboard too much. Okay, the next tool that I'm going to talk about today is Kaizen, which I just learned about over the summer, and when I heard about it, I had one of those mind-blown moments. I was like, wow, this is going to change the way that I grade and give feedback to kids. Kaizen is a website and an app. My school just went one-to-one on iPads this year, so my kids all have the app downloaded to their iPads. Students can submit their work to me, and I can grade and give feedback all within the app, so it is a way for you to go paperless in your classroom. The teacher does have to create an account and set up classes, and then your students will have to create accounts as well and then join the class using a code really similar to the way you would join Google Classroom or anything else like that. The students will submit work to you in Kaizen, and once they do that, you can leave feedback in 3 different ways. My favorite way is the video option. That first arrow there is pointing at a video that's dropped in right in line with the student's work that you can see there on the right. So if a student is continually making the same error with their comma usage, then you just find a video on YouTube and drop it in there. Or if you have your own video that you've made, you can drop that in there, and then the student can just review that information right there in line with their own work, which I think is really meaningful. You can also use the little dots that are there to rate their skills. So like in this example, signposting and transitions, think of it like stars. I got 4 out of 4 stars on that. So you could use those dots to track their progression with particular skills throughout the year. Kaizen comes pre-populated with different skills, but you can also add in different ones that you maybe want to track that aren't already in the app. So I like that feature. And finally, the simple text comment is also available. Didn't throw the baby out with the bathwater, which I like with this app. So this is really great for being able to leave feedback. I think it's really encouraging for students and motivating for them to be able to get feedback in various ways. instead of just like the red pen scribbled on the paper. I feel like this is more engaging for them. And then they don't have to wait to like get a mini lesson from you a couple days later. They can go just watch the video to see what it is they need to fix. I will often post within my Blackboard the link to the Kaizen website, or directions just to say, go to our Kaizen class and turn it in. So they just can toggle from Blackboard into Kaizen to turn in the work. All right. The next tool I'm going to talk about is screencastomatic. This is really great for making those videos I was just talking about. It records your computer screen, which makes it a really good option for showing kids, you know, a particular website or a computer application that you want them to know how to use. Or if there's like a PowerPoint or something you want to talk through, you can use screencastomatic to do that. There's always a little yellow circle around where your cursor is, which I think makes it easy for the kids to follow what I'm pointing to. And then when you click, it turns blue so they can see like where you're clicking if that's important to what you're showing them. You do need to make sure that, like, you know, you put your makeup on or you're smiling or whatever, because you can turn on your webcam and record yourself on top of the video there, like a little picture-in-picture, which I think again adds a really nice personal touch, and the kids kind of feel more connected than if they're just watching a computer screen with your like disembodied voice over the top of it. So if you do have a webcam, then that'll give you that option to turn it on, which I would recommend. You can save these to your computer, or you can publish them directly to YouTube from Screencast-O-Matic. I always publish mine to YouTube, and then I can use the mashup feature within Blackboard to just embed my videos right into my Blackboard class. So it's really simple to do. I mean, your video, you take what, 5-10 minutes to record your video, and it literally takes 30 seconds to put it in Blackboard once you have it downloaded. So I make videos of myself teaching things that I used to teach as a whole class lesson. I'll just record it now with Screencast-O-Matic. And then I'll have kids take a pretest real quick, and then depending on how they do on the pretest, they'll either get the video or they get to skip the video using adaptive release that I mentioned before. And that way kids that already kind of know the new material can just jump right in, and the kids that need that refresher or need that lesson go and watch the video. I've also used this to record myself, like if I'm going to be absent, or if I'm sick, or if more likely my kids are sick, I'll record a quick video and just kind of walking them through whatever's in Blackboard for the day, so they can see that and they can see me and they know that, you know, I'm there. I'm just not physically there with them that day. And I'll email that in and have the sub show it to the class. Let's see, I think that's it. The next one, I'm going to turn it over to Diana now. She's going to talk to you about Google Forms.
Hi, everybody. I love to use Google Forms in my 5th grade classroom to personalize learning. This tool helps me achieve that by allowing me to check for understanding, keeping kids accountable while working independently, and offering me multiple ways to assess my students. So Google has a new quiz feature that we can use now, which makes it even easier because you don't need Flubaroo to be grading stuff. But I can quickly assess my students in math, for example. I might be working with one group that needs one-on-one attention, while the other group can go and just take this quiz. 10 minutes later, I can go over to this response button that I have an arrow pointed to in this screenshot here, and see if they got it or not, and then I can address what kind of needs they'll need for math that day. So right on the fly. In my reading block, I may have students answer questions about a story they just read and check for comprehension that way. What's so amazing is in real time in my classroom, I can adjust, create, and personalize curriculum for each student just by using these little forms for assessments and quizzes. I also love the variety that we have, so that I can choose and tailor it to kids' needs as well. If multiple choice or check boxes are better for some kids. And a lot of kids can have the screen read to them too with our MacBooks, so they can get a read aloud feature with the Google Forms as well. Seesaw. So Seesaw is a little like Kaizen, but I love it. My entire school, kindergarten through 5th grade, is using Seesaw in their classrooms, and I feel like it's really revolutionized not only working with my kids, but communication with parents. This app is engaging and extremely helpful in demonstrating skill mastery. So an example of what I might do is the kids have a QR code to our account, and they'll screen or scan the QR code, and then their account comes up, and they might take a photo, make a video, draw a picture to explain a concept. They also do book snaps this way, which is kind of this new fun thing for them to do, where they take a picture of a section of the book, insert emojis, write on it, or video themselves explaining an important part of the book. Then what I can do is I can comment, like, and all sorts of things. But what's even better is the parents also can like and comment on this digital portfolio that they're creating. So then later, at the end of the semester, as we're sitting around, I can show the parents how the students are doing in class through the digital portfolio. It also helps with reading fluency. Each week I can have the kids read aloud into Seesaw, and the parents and I can be hearing their fluency and then make some notes and comments about what they need to be working on. Additionally, kind of like the 4 dots in Kaizen, Seesaw has a place where you can set skills and assign a 4-star rating, and then you can go and pull that skill up and see which students have successfully met that or mastered that skill. Just last week I was in Colorado for Thanksgiving and was able to log in and communicate with my kids all day as they were uploading and doing things in Seesaw, so it was kind of nice to be able to do that from afar. Oops, I never really advanced to show you this. I got all caught up in reading my notes there. Sorry. So this gives you a better screenshot of what I just went through. And then our next one is ThingLink. This is a free site to create interactive images and videos. It's an excellent nonlinear teaching tool for sharing multimedia content. Students can explore resources and interact to deepen their understanding of a concept. Students can also build their own ThingLinks to demonstrate their understanding, which is great for projects and even assessments. So you would upload any image or video and tag with text links, embed more videos, audio links, or even Google Docs. You can start tagging once it's uploaded. You can even customize how the tags look on your image and move them around easily on the page. Share the finished product via Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Tumblr, Google+, or copy the embed code and share it in Blackboard. Some of the different ways we use this is adding information to a map, a timeline, an author bio, chart, or graph, etc. I've also encouraged students to build their own ThingLinks as assessments using collaborative projects, including analyzing a text, decoding figurative language, building background knowledge, and much more. This is a really engaging hands-on way to get the kids working with their content.
Okay, this is Kelly again. I'm going to talk to you about Padlet. I actually started using Padlet several years ago when it was called Wallwisher.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's been around for a while. I really like it. It's a free site that you can use to create online, like bulletin boards, kind of. So the thing that I like about it is that the kids don't have to have an account in order to post on your board, on your Padlet. So that's really great. They can just go in and post. It'll just show up as anonymous. So you might, if you want to know who posted what, you'll have to ask them to put their name in. So here you can see an example Padlet. You can customize the background image. You can choose how you want your posts laid out, if you want them to be in a grid or just a stream, or if you want it to be free form. And then you just click and type your little post up there. You can share the Padlet via email. You can copy and send out the link. You can put it on Facebook or Twitter. And my favorite is to copy the embed code and put it directly into Blackboard. And then kids can post directly in Blackboard. They don't have to leave our classroom in Blackboard to do that. It just will work. The example you're looking at here is when students created a Tack, which we'll talk about in a second, and they shared the link to their own Tacks on the Padlet, so then everyone was able to see everybody else's projects. Everything's visible in one spot. The ways to use this are totally endless. I, in fact, just sent out to, I coach cheerleading at my middle school, and so we're doing a photo a day challenge for December, and not all the girls are on Instagram, which I think is wise considering that they're 12. So instead of posting on Instagram, they're going to post to a Padlet, just as a little way to kind of build some community.
My whole school for an engineering week had a Padlet that we could share across the school. And so each grade level could be posting things that they were creating for the engineering week, and then everyone could see it and explain it. So it was really a way to build community within our building as well.
I also have kids post their warm-ups. We do little writing prompts for our warm-ups most days, and the kids always want to share, and that takes up lots of class time. So instead I tell them to just copy and paste their writing responses to their class Padlet, and then all of my students are able to see all of my other students' work. And then sometimes it's fun to tweet out some of the more clever responses. You can also use Padlet to do silent discussions, or you can do thank you notes when you have guest speakers and have each of the kids just drop in a little thank you and then email that out to your speaker. You can do class voting, you can do article or book reviews. You can also set up the background as like a to-do list just for yourself or for maybe a student that needs help getting organized, and then you can move the items around on the to-do list as you accomplish them. You could set up a KWL chart, you could put a map in the background, you could make the background anything. So the possibilities there are really pretty endless. They're super easy to build, they're easy to share. It's just a really great tool. So I encourage you to give that a try if you haven't yet. All right, next, Crafty Text.
Okay, so Diana again, Crafty Text, this is going to be a short and sweet one, but mainly it's going to save your voice, which is ironic since our friend's not here because she lost her voice.
Yeah.
And she uses this a lot in high school. So it's a free extension from the Chrome Web Store. It's a simple tool that just turns small text into very large text to project around the room. So if you're needing to share quickly contact information like a Twitter handle, a web address, page numbers for students to turn to, or log on codes, which is one of those huge things that we have like for a Seesaw login or a Kaizen or any of that. The beauty of it is that it keeps us from having to repeat ourselves over and over and over and over again just to get kids all onto the same page or website or something like that. So it's short and sweet. Storify. Oh my goodness. So Storify is super, it's excellent. I kind of like it as a research management tool, but there's so many different uses for this. It's not only really good for students, but also for staff professional development. So we have so much information coming at us from the internet, Twitter, Facebook, and so many other social medias. It's hard to keep it all straight and sift through it. And especially at the lower levels, kind of getting your kids to focus in on really where we want them to go, and just instead of just sending them to say Google. So students and teachers can create and organize these stories, if you will, into folders from a variety of social media resources, and then you can add links, pictures, videos, and articles into then this folder, and then share it. So I made one of these for personalized learning this morning in like 5 minutes, and I titled it Personalized Learning, and I dropped in a YouTube video, a quick tweet, and I think something from Facebook as well, and that's going to be shared in the chat room here because I put all of this into a Tack for you. And so you can kind of see a little bit more of what Storify and a couple other resources look like instead of just these one screenshots. As I was preparing for today, I also thought about some other great ways I could use this just in my classroom this week. We've been studying Native Americans, and so I thought, wow, how cool would it be to take all these different social medias and create a place for students to go and read about the like North Dakota pipeline and what's happening with that, and kind of filter it through for them, but have them have a place that they can go and research and study. And then we're also working on a space unit, and I was thinking, oh gosh, you know, we could have the live tweets from NASA and things like that, and so they would have a place to go to instead of having to have their own Twitter or something. They could go to this Storify and really follow along with what's currently going on with space. Okay. And lastly, Tack. This is my all-time favorites currently. I was introduced to this over the summer, and now this is like the only way I present, and almost the only.
Isn't Carrie the one that introduced it to us? We both learned about it this summer just prior to going out to Blackboard World. She was like, "Oh, you guys don't know about Tack?" And we were like, "What?" So now we're both obsessed with it.
Yeah, it's really cool. And what she had been doing is she was personalizing for just one student a whole unit for them to work on, kind of to pre-teach them over the summer before they came to her classroom that fall. And so we were very intrigued by this. In addition to all the tools that we've mentioned work in Tack, which is kind of cool. And the ease in which I can create a presentation, like I did this morning, which we put over here on the right, was like 5 minutes. It's just like clicking and adding things, and you can move things around and drag and drop. And it's just, the ease is so nice. I can use it as a newsletter and a calendar, and I use that with a communication tool with my parents. I use it for teaching concepts like if we were doing fractions, I could upload videos, worksheets, assignments, and multiple ways for students to kind of get the same information on a single concept. My students like it so much that they're using it currently for their own presentations. A couple kids created text to show me that they learned all the literary elements on a book they read, and they were able to put in pictures and stuff, and they even found a video of the author and had a video of the author in there, which was really exciting for everyone to watch. We also are using Tack for professional development at my school. My principal might develop a Tack on some stuff that we need to learn or ideas that she'd like us to be going through. And so she can set up videos here, link it to Storify so we can see other current events. She adds a Padlet in there so other teachers can communicate on the Padlet from the Tack. And then, of course, she embeds all of this into our Blackboard page as well.
And you can also follow people on Tack like you would on Twitter or Pinterest or wherever. So you could follow Diana and I, not that I have a lot on mine right now, but you can follow other people's Tacks to see how they're using it, what they're doing with it, and what kinds of things they're sharing. So that's another, it kind of has a social media spin to it also. Yeah. So, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
We
Top 10.
We did that fast.
We did that super fast. There's so many more on the Tack link that we did send you. We have a list of other, obviously, tools that we use. There are so many out there. Choosing 10 was difficult, but those are definitely our favorites.
And we tried to pick options too that weren't like super obvious. Like we kind of figure everybody knows about like Google Apps for Education, so we tried to leave those, and so we tried to think outside the box a little bit.
Definitely. I feel like I learned a lot just listening. I was like, wow, I didn't even know there were so many various resources. Like, that's so cool. And the fact that you guys are able to just congregate them in one presentation is super helpful for all folks looking to personalize. So thank you very much. We're just going to open up the floor for anyone that does have questions, either about any of these tools or any questions that you want to ask about their classrooms and how they're managed. Feel free to type those in the chat, or you can come off mute and feel free to chime in.
Oh, Tack is blocked, probably because of the social part of it.
Oh,
we haven't run into that yet. Sometimes we get ahead of our IT people and they don't know they should be blocking stuff when maybe they should. So I don't know. Maybe it stays our number, Diana.
Yeah, who knows?
I hope not. But
I hope not as well.
It probably does depend on your social policy. I think every district is just very different in terms of what they allow. I know some districts are like have no, blockings on anything social related. So I think it just depends.
Morgan, we do have a policy, especially on YouTube. We had kind of a kerfluffle over it a few years ago. They were going to just block it, and everyone was like, no, you can't. And so now what happens is if there are videos on YouTube that are maybe iffy, they're not available for students to see, but teacher accounts can see, and we just get a little blue button that shows up under all of the YouTube videos, and it'll say that this is available for all USD 497, or it's only available for staff. And then if it's only available to staff, you can request to open it up and make it available to students. And then teachers have that one-click ability to do that. You just have to be careful that you don't make something available to students that you shouldn't. just because then you're on the line for sharing that. So, and then yeah, you can make a proposal for why a particular website needs to be opened up if it's blocked. We also don't have every single teacher in our school district putting content in Blackboard and using Blackboard as the go-to place. So, I mean, I put my videos in there instead of just directing kids right to YouTube, but not all teachers do that. So.
Great. Other questions? Yes. I think that's obviously something that I heard you guys say throughout, that like it's great to have all these different resources, but having that one central hub I think is really important, regardless of what LMS you're using, knowing where to go to access everything.
Yeah, I always tell kids we live in Blackboard, guys. We live in Blackboard.
Yeah.
You may take a vacation somewhere to turn something in or to get some feedback, but live in Blackboard.
Other questions from anyone? Just don't want to cut anyone off if you do have questions. All right. So we'll go ahead. I'm just going to wrap up with a few final thoughts here. Thanks again for participating in today's session. Was there someone that had a question trying to chime in there? Nope. Okay. Be sure to join us again on December 12th at 3:30 Eastern Time with Crowley ISD. You can go here to the link to register. And it does look like Hildy has a question. How do you manage data collection from various programs?
You know, I still use paper and pencil sometimes to kind of collect through other resources as I'm doing that, and I can kind of have a check-off system and things like that as I'm looking around. But a lot of these apps that we have, whether it's a dot or a star system or a like or a comment, you're kind of remembering what you're doing with that. And I mean, it sounds weird, but it's kind of just up in your head. You know how the kids are doing. But I often write notes and, you know, have files on students, so I can kind of make a little note, jot that down as well.
Yeah, I have Excel sheets for each of my students, and so I track like their map assessment data and state assessment data. I track their pre and post test formative assessments, and so when I say in Kaizen like, oh man, so-and-so really needs to work on their transitions, or wow, we really as a whole don't know that we need to start a paragraph with the main idea, then I go back and track all that in my spreadsheets and just that's where I go when I'm planning my units and thinking about, okay, what are we going to have to do? I look at where we are and what kinds of things they need specifically as a class and then as individuals. I hope that answers the question a little bit. Oh yeah, you can put stuff in the Grade Center. Since I sometimes will have stuff graded in Kaizen, then I'll just add a column in the Grade Center and put it in, and then go back in and set up adaptive release through the column that I've added. So it's kind of an extra step sometimes, but if it's a way that
that's really cool.
If it's something that I know I want to use to keep kids in or out of a particular area, then yeah, I would just add the grade, like the number score from the Kaizen feedback into the Grade Center.
Great. Awesome. Thanks so much, Hilly, for your question, and sorry if I cut you off there. So don't forget to join the BIS community, and again, I'll put this in the chat for you all, and we look forward to seeing you next Monday for our last session of the year. Thanks again, ladies, for your great presentation, very helpful information.
Thank
and
you.
As always, I know you guys are always carving out time for us, so thank you, and have a great rest of your afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.